Alright, we should be live. Back, we're working on the infamous Cruelclaw. Still love the name. So this is Cruelclaw. He's gonna be coming out in Bloomborough. Um, 3 mana, 3/3 menace. But the part that I really want to focus on is that next giant block of text. Every time he deals combat damage to a player, I get to exile cards from the top of my library until I exile a non-land card. Then I may cast that card by discarding a card instead of paying the mana cost. So, Cruel Claw allows us to potentially cast insane spells very early in the game. Obviously, he's got a bit of a random element to him if you can't Vampiric Tutor right before he deals combat damage or in response to the trigger. Um, Technically, you can also seal, Imperial Seal, and hope that nothing goes wrong, but that one gets a little more awkward if you have to choose a spell that you can't cast otherwise, and now you're going to be drawing that spell. But for the most part, he's just crazy good value, and even if you don't have any control over what you're hitting, if you stack your deck with enough cards that are worth hitting, the odds of him actually doing crazy stuff just naturally, or if you have enough cards that benefit you from casting the spells regardless of what you hit. So that's what we're looking for. Also, we're looking for ways to turn the cost on him into more upside. So things like Madness, Reanimator, things that benefit me from discarding cards from my hand are also highly likely to make it into the deck. So last time we finished off all of the sets that start with Commander. So the two Commander Legends sets and the Commander Masters, which are among the longest things to look through because they have so many reprints that you can't ignore in any way. Like, they cluster all of the cards together. There might be a way to do that with Scryfall, but I have to still find the section where the new cards from the Commander deck start, the same way I do with the Commander Legends Commander cards. But yeah, the Commander Masters Commander deck cards. The Commander Legends are the problem because they have their actual set that you can open from the booster packs, and then they also have, of course, a collection of Commander decks that go with them that also have, but they all have the same set symbol, so you can't search for them individually, and putting them in number order definitely makes Magic, like Wizards Gatherer program, just die inside trying to sort that for me. But it has problems with a lot of different sets sorting them properly because of really stupid things. I think the worst one is the current situation where the the full art versions and the expanded border versions have a different collector number, so you can't use collector numbers to sort commander decks that were released that have an associated booster pack. So things like the Fallout set and the Doctor Who set, because they have collector packs that have full art versions of the cards and alternate artwork versions of the cards with different collector numbers. They sort in such a way that the alternate art and full art are the default collector numbers. And why they're the default collector numbers, I do not understand. That's incredibly stupid. Anyway, enough complaining about Wizards and their poor life decisions. Otherwise, we'll be here all day. Again. Alright, so we're starting with Conflux today. Don't need Ancient Ziggurat for anything. Absorb Vis is not... It's not really worth cascading into to drain 4 life, unless we have some of the cards that care about the casting cost of the spells we're casting from exile, which right now is, I think, 1 or 2 cards. So... Well, it would not be terrible to have a card that has land cycling and the high mana cost with a reasonable effect. We'll just be able to do so much better than that in the long run. Don't need Corrupted Roots. Drag down. that thing. Can't run that thing. Um, Whenever another creature leaves the battlefield, you may have target player mill 2 cards. I think I have enough ways to put things into my graveyard anyway. I don't need the demon also. And Reanimator is only a backup thing because we'll be able to do it by paying the cost of our other things. Font of Mythos. Outlander, no. Sack a land, put a 1/1 counter on at the beginning of your end step. No. Slave Driver, no. Yeah, unfortunately, most, if not all, of the unearthed creatures, because they only get one more bite at attacking the opponent, are underwhelming enough that discarding them to pay the cost and then bringing them back isn't enough of a benefit in a big multiplayer game to actually merit including them. Unless we can find one that has a particularly strong ability. I did not consider that with the Encore creatures. I still don't think there were any that I really wanted, but Encore is slightly better than Unearth in Commander because you actually get one per opponent. It's still not particularly strong compared to other stuff we could be doing, so I doubt if I went back I would... Like, the only one that I can think of was the only one that tempted me even before I considered that I might be able to get the Encore value, and that's the Rakshasa that reanimates a creature from each player's graveyard. Even that's kind of low impact, depending on the opponents and their creatures. Like, yeah, sometimes you'll be getting back huge stuff, but if you're getting back things that combo with their deck better than they work independently, then you usually aren't getting anything particularly good from that player, so it's kind of hit and miss. And I don't think it's terrible to do, but at the same time, I don't think it's the best thing we could be doing as far as reanimate. I would, if it let me reanimate from my own graveyard or that player's graveyard, then yes, because we know we'll be putting amazing stuff in the graveyard. But I'm actually much better off being able to reanimate my own stuff than the opponent's things for the most part. I don't need the charge. Can't that thing. Voices. Fallout. Voracious Dragon. No. And no. Okay. Nothing from Conflux. That brings us to the second conspiracy set. Yeah, take the crown. Again, not 100% sure we want the Monarch and which Monarchy cards we do want, but I'm definitely seriously considering the Monarchy just so we have extra card draw and we encourage our opponents to attack a lot more and leave them vulnerable to our 3/3 Menace actually getting through. Or make it so they can attack, and because I have to worry about my 3/3 Menace getting through. No, I don't think so. The problem with Capital Punishment is if we hit it early enough off of Cruelclaw, everybody will choose Sacrifice Creatures because they're going to lose too much stuff if they choose Discard. And then in the later game, there'll be enough of a mix that we're probably not killing the important creatures or disrupting the hands of the players that have the essential cards because they're trying to build up a critical mass of them. Yeah, I'd rather have a card that makes the opponent sacrifice a bunch of creatures or a card that makes them discard cards, so that way we hit them really hard on the one front instead of basically letting the players choose. There's always a chance that somebody in the group will, essentially misvote and but the rest of the table will talk them out of it pretty quickly for obvious reasons. Like, No, I want to choose sacrifice creatures. I want to discard I want to discard a card. I want to sacrifice creatures. It's like, look, we're going to lose all of our creatures anyway, or we lose 3 cards from our hand. So I would rather just lose my 1 creature and not discard anything than have to lose my, yeah. And they will talk them out of being silly about it. Unfortunately, Custody Lich's target player. It's not terrible, but I would not feel bad if my 5-drop 4/2 made every opponent sacrifice a creature. Yeah, I don't know that that's one of the Monarchy cards I want. Duretti, I don't think we need. We're not very artifact focused. Designs, Deputize Protester, no. Yeah, what are some of the other Monarchy cards for black and red? Before I decide if I actually want Custody Lich for anything. If you're the Monarch, each opponent loses a life and you gain a life. Not worth. Yeah, I'm not focused on being the Monarch. I'm okay with being the Monarch. Which normally I'm not. Normally having the Monarchy means that then you have to spend a lot of time being able to defend it or take it back. Usually take it back. Defending it's really hard. Taking it back is usually a lot easier, but that still requires a consistent stream of evasion threats that will be able to steal the Monarchy back from almost anybody. So these are all reprints. Enters the battlefield, I become the Monarch. Whenever a creature attacks me or a Planeswalker I control, that creature's controller loses 1 life. Again, that's not really... losing 1 life at a time, like even per creature attacking, isn't as big a deal as, you know, getting other stuff online would be. Like, I don't want to cascade into this with Cruelclaw. I would much rather cascade into better stuff, and having our opponent lose like 2 or 3 life for taking the Monarchy from us is not helping our game plan enough, is what it comes down to. Like, it's fine that it's hurting them for trying to take the Monarchy from us, but again, I'm not super focused on being the Monarch, so even though this card gives us the Monarchy, on top of that, I think there are better cards. Like, I would much rather run this 7-drop Dragon and hit it off of Cruelclaw in, like, the first couple turns. And that way, I'm the Monarch and I'm making giant angry dragons. And it's hard to take the Monarchy from me. Might be easier to just kill my dragon before I make too many dragons. So this is Take the Crown. We want Skyline Despot. Dragon 5/5. Yeah, this is way more the type of card I'm looking for, because flipping this with Cruelclaw in the early portion of the game puts a lot of pressure on the rest of the table to deal with it before I just take over the game with a bunch of flying angry dragon tokens. And if they're dealing with that, unless they are wrathing the board to deal with it, they are not killing Cruelclaw also, so we're getting more chances to get in and cast our cool spells. So yeah, I definitely prefer a card like this to as a way to gain the Monarchy on top of that. Yeah, 4 mana, 1/3 Death Touch, I kind of shrug at. So right now we've got 3 cards that give me the Monarchy, but they're all pretty decent in our deck, so. The Skyline Despot might be the best one out of the group. The other 2 are only at their strongest when we are the Monarch, whereas that is a large, angry, flying dragon to start with. which also makes it way easier to take the monarchy back if we lose it. And we're on the core sets now. Forget if the Lord... So the Lord of the Rings set has a red, white, green, blue. Like, it's the non-black. Here's how you get the monarchy thing, because it focuses around Aragon being the king. So we might get a red card or two that care about the monarchy from that, but I don't think so. And those are the only cards that are going to care about the monarchy from that. So I was trying to figure out like how else we're going to get the monarchy. Like if we're going to have enough cards that actually care about it for this to be worthwhile. And unfortunately, I think that's all of them. So we'll have to see, though. Maybe I'm forgetting some cards. Because usually I see a card that gives me the monarchy. I'm like, I don't want to be the monarch. That's way too much pressure. Yeah, Apex of Power, not going to be what we need. Unfortunately, because we'll be exiling the cards and we have until the end of turn to cast them, even if we hit this for free, most of our spells are too expensive to be able to cast, like, 2 or more cards reasonably anyway. And if we hit this super early, we're just exiling the top 7 cards for no value if we cast it, so... then we have to be getting all the value out of discarding the card early on. So... no, no. Yeah, I don't think so, Bone Dragon. We actually might be more in the market for collect evidence than anything else. Because we have so many... I'm planning on having so many high casting cost stuff. Like, I'm looking at this guy who needs 7 specific cards in the graveyard. I could see Escape being something, but I could definitely see collect evidence, because the high casting cost of our spells means we're very likely to be able to pay the cost with like 1 or 2 cards. If you do, gets +2/+2. No. Don't need Crash Through. Dark Dweller Oracle. Probably don't need Demanding Dragon at all. Demon of Catastrophes. Yeah, unfortunately, we're still casting him off Cruelclaw, so we would still need to sacrifice a creature as an additional cost to cast him. Just because we don't have to pay the mana cost doesn't mean we're not casting the card, so... unfortunate for him. But that's okay, we'll find other stuff. Bright side is we're casting them, so Eldrazi triggers, that sort of thing. Don't really need Fell Spectre. I'm the one that's going to be discarding cards, not necessarily our opponents, so... Now, granted, I might include a card or two that makes them discard their hand, most likely, but... don't need Fraying Omnipotence, I don't think. Trash Master for anything. Do we care at all about Gravewaker? Probably not. I don't need a 7 mana sink. I'll have plenty of stuff to spend my mana on if I hit 7 mana. In fact, the problem might be is that I don't have enough mana still to cast some of the spells that I'm planning on putting in, so... yeah, no to Isareth. Hellion for anything. Dragon Riders, nothing. Lightning Mare. Don't know how many zombies I'm likely to have, so probably don't need Untouched by Death for anything. Contract, Spoils. Nightmare Thirst, open the graves, no. Plague Mare for anything. We can do way better than Rise from the Grave. Don't need Sarkin Dragon Soul for anything. I was reading him just to make sure he didn't have anything cool going on. I know he's the Commander deck, or not Commander deck, the Planeswalker deck one. Cast Dragon spells, no. Do I care at all about unsealing? Probably not. Like, this feels like a card that I already need to have other stuff going on in order for it to be good. I don't want this to be the thing I cascade into with Cruelclaw, and then, you know, it takes me a while to actually start doing stuff with it, because I hit this and, like, even if I hit with Cruelclaw and I'm casting non-creature spells, so they wouldn't have power. Yeah. If it was casting cost, I think I would run this. Because it's power, I don't think so. It would still need to be like any spell. Like if I cast a spell with casting cost 4, 5, or 6, deals 4 damage, I would almost definitely take that, but yeah, I think we pass here. All these so far. Spitfire, no. The Supplier. No. Nope. Transmogrifying one. Headed Zombie, no. No, and no. Okay. So core 2019 to core 2020. Alright, fine. I'll sit up a little bit better. I can't type from back here. Yeah, I fix my posture, I almost immediately start sliding down in the chair again. Come on, Gather. You can do it. There you go. I had faith in you. Notice Siphon, Auspicious Thief, Holding New, Blade Brand, Light Beetle, I don't think. No. Pay 2 life, discard a card, sack a creature, make a 5/5. Nope. Ooh, the Cavaliers. Enters the battlefield, discard a number of cards and draw that many cards. Dies, it deals X damage to each opponent and each planeswalker they control, where X is the number of lands in your graveyard. I can give all of my creatures haste. Giving my creatures haste probably doesn't matter, because I'm probably casting it post-combat. But I do get to, like, mitigate flooding out on high casting cost spells by being able to discard them, but I also get to do as many cards as I want. So if I have like if I have Animate Dead in my hand or Reanimate, I can discard the other cards. So maybe, excuse me. Alright, so this was M20. This was Cavalier of Flames. Valier of Flames. 2 red, elemental. Oops. Knight. It's a 6/5. Alright, and the black one is 4/5 lifelink. Enters, you may sacrifice another creature, destroy target creature and opponent controls. Return target creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. That seems way less impressive in comparison. I love him. I love Awakened Inferno. I don't think this is the deck for her. Like, yes, getting her out super early for free, essentially, and just plussing her, and opponents not being able to kill her outright would be amazing. But hitting her in the mid to late game when I need a more impactful spell, probably not. Also, the fact that she is almost definitely going to kill Cruelclaw while sweeping away the mid-sized creatures, if I just have to, like, -5 immediately or something, or even -6 and just take her out. Because I hit her and I desperately need to stop the things that are killing me. Yeah, I think we could do better by having better ways to kill our opponent's stuff that doesn't risk leaving their biggest things alive while still killing our important cards. Regulator. I don't really care for Drakaseth. And I love Dread Presence, but not really doing it in a multicolored commander deck. Don't think we need the embodiment. Dead, no. Close. All he did was be way too powerful. And be one of the best commanders to the point where it would be almost correct to just have him as your commander and then build whatever other themes you want and let him and just have the mana to activate him. Yeah, I think that was the biggest problem with Golos is that for a lot of commander decks, it would be correct to just ditch your actual commander, throw in some fixing, and just play Golos. Because all of the free spells and value he generates is just way too over the top. No, don't do any of these. Dragon, no. No. Need a Reverberation, Ripscale Predator. No Rotting Regisaur, I don't think I need you. I'll discard my cards on my own. Yeah, I'm already 100% down for Vamp Tutor and very interested in Imperial Seal, so I might actually want Scheming Symmetry. Like, there are cards I can put on top that would actually benefit me from our opponent getting to tutor. I'm thinking things like Crabomination, which would already be a decent value play to have come down, where it's like, okay, I'm going to exile a card from your hand and your graveyard and the top of your deck, and I get to cast one of them for free, on top of casting my crab for free. So, things like that are already worth considering, but, when you can have an opponent where you know they got to get something cool, now you just get to steal it. Like you get that one guaranteed, and you might get something better from their hand or graveyard. Furious Bloodlord. Think so. I'm not planning on running a bunch of vampires specifically with high casting costs, so if we did wind up that way, we'd probably come back and grab Soren just as another way to get them into play in the extreme early game. Do I want a card like Thought Distortion? It is a possibility. Being able to hit all of the... Oh, wait, it doesn't hit creatures. Yeah, I'd rather have a card that just makes the opponent discard their hand at that point then, and I think we can do that with certain cards, so... For some reason I was reading it as discarding all the non-lands in their hand, which, you know, adding in can't be countered makes that really strong, but... it could still have other things affect it, so... like getting misdirected, or gain control of, or bounce back to my hand. So, I suppose not. Hmm. Would I be interested in Villas? I'm not planning on having a ton of ways to intentionally lose life in the deck. There will be some, though. Like, an early Villas would be incredible, but honestly, I think I'd rather save a slot like that for, like, Razaketh over Villas. I think so, anyway. Alright. That was Core Set 2020. I leaned back at the exact wrong time because I need to get 2021. Play me. I know why I waited. It's because I've been perched forward to pick out the card, so... Wait a second. This is M20. I clicked on the wrong thing after all that. Didn't even notice. There we go. And now I hit my knee on the desk. It's fine. Fine. Yeah, I don't think I need bad deal. We can do better. +4, +0, no. Brash Taunter, no. No. Deals 3 damage to each opponent. Cast target red instant or sorcery from your graveyard. Still would have to pay for it, though. And takes a bit too long to get to the -8. Yeah, don't think so for the other Chandra either. X less to cast, where X is the total amount of non-combat damage dealt. Henry, welcome to the channel. Thank you for the follow. How are you doing today? I don't need any of those so far. Brace, no. You give combat on your turn, sacrifice another creature, no. Double Vision feels win more as opposed to actually being a thing we want. Like, we don't want to cascade into this, we want to have cast this and cascade into an instant or sorcery for the first time and get, like, a big spell effect twice. So, probably not worth it. I think I need Fire Emancipation. No to Furious Rise. No to Gadrick. Becomes blocked by a creature, loses 2 life, and I gain 2 life. Nope. Bond. Hobble Fiend. Hooded Blightfang. No. No to Pairvec. Whenever you activate, no. Augur. Let's see. Each player discards a card. Each opponent who can't loses 3 life. Target creature gets -X/-X. Number of cards in your graveyard. I mean, she's fine. I don't think so, though. I think we can do better. If we wanted Massacre Worm, we'd grab it from its original set. Probably don't want Peer into the Abyss. As someone who has actually cast Peer into the Abyss when it doesn't win the game on the spot, I don't think I want to run it in a deck where it's less likely to win the game on the spot. I've used it before where it just kills the opponents outright in my Mogus deck because I have so much punishment for taking game actions that normally occur in Commander, especially things like drawing cards, discarding cards, and things of that nature. So, Peer into the Abyss is usually fatal at that point. But I have cast it in the deck where it wasn't fatal at the time, with the idea that it might be very shortly, and yeah. Usually doesn't actually kill it. Usually giving the opponent that many cards kills you regardless of how much life they lose. Like, normally they will be able to find stuff that interacts with the other pieces of your combo that are going to kill them eventually. So yeah, since the deck isn't focused on that, I don't think... It's also not something I would want to cast in the extreme early game. It's like, oh, cool, I hit this off of my commander, so I'll discard a card, and I'll go to 20, and I'll pick up the top, like 40 some odd cards of my deck, and look at them, and then discard down to 7. Honestly, that still sounds pretty good. Let's see, I'm at 20, but on the bright side, I'm going to fully stock my graveyard and have Reanimate and Animate Dead in my hand. Cool. Guess I'll just win next turn. So yeah, maybe. Stone Fangs, no. Or Smoke Ghoul, don't think so. Don't need Subira for anything this time around. Terror of the Peaks. I'm not gonna lie, if we have enough creatures specifically as our big scary things, a card like Terror of the Peaks or Warstorm Surge might actually be worth it. So... Three red, red dragon, 5, 4. We'll wait till Fate Reforged to decide if we want Ugin or not. Okay. So that was all the core sets that start with core set. What's next? Dark Ascension. Alright, Dark Ascension, what have you got for me? We can do better than Alpha Brawl. We can have Plague Wind. We can just kill all of their creatures. We don't have to get cute about it with an 8-drop. We can just do it with a 9-drop. Or, Garrick's Wake, because that's a better Plague Wind. Or maybe both, if I really decide I need it that badly. Who knows? I don't need any of the curses. Death's Caress, no. Faithless Looting, Falkenrath Aristocrat. Player, Geralt's Messenger, no. I think I need Gravecrawler at all. Creature you control attacks. Hellrider deals 1 damage to the player or planeswalker it's attacking. No. No, we can do better than like a couple incremental points of damage. Increasing Ambition or Increasing Vengeance. Excuse me. Do we want Mikaeus? Mikaeus is fine. I usually prefer Mikaeus when I'm going to combo with him, though, as opposed to him just being a Wrath deterrent. And I don't think our deck wants to, like, we're not going to run things like Walking Ballista with Mikaeus, so, because we don't want to hit Walking Ballista with our commander. I think we pass on Mikaeus. Ravenous Demon. I don't need Shattered Perception, I don't think. Falkenrath, Torchfiend, no. Dying Evil. Vengeful Vampire, don't think so. And no. Okay. So the answer was not really anything from Dark Ascension. On to Dissension, which will give us our Blood Crypt, if nothing else. Excuse me. Anthem of Rakdos. Whenever a creature you control attacks, it gets +2/+0, and it deals 1 damage. As long as you have no cards in your hand, if a source you control would deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals double that damage to that permanent or player instead. Avatar. Do need Blood Crypt. Back up. Ascension. Crypt. Land. Excuse me. Cackling Flames, no. Crypt Champion. Enters the battlefield, each player puts a creature card with mana value 3 or less from their graveyard onto the battlefield. No. No, I need to be able to bring back bigger stuff if we're going to do that. Demon Fire, or the Jester. Some more water. I don't know that I'm going to be casting enough multicolor spells to want to run the Eidolon as a thing I can buy back from the graveyard. So, I think we pass on that one. Sacrifice Flamekin War Scout. If you do, deals 4 damage. No. No. As long as you have no cards in your hand, gets +1/+0, and black regenerate the rat. No. Enters the battlefield, target player discards a card, deals damage to that player equal to that card's mana value. No. Ignorant Bliss. Pop it. Deals 2 damage to any target if it was red. Draw a card if it was black. No. Nihilistic Glee. Pain Magnifier. Reign of Gore. Don't need Augur Mage. Discard a card, target creature gets -2/-2 until end of turn. Create a 2/1 red goblin creature token with haste, exile at the beginning of the next end step. Nope. You Do 1 damage to target creature and that creature's controller loses a life. No. Hit dragon. Do I want the Signet at all? Probably not. Maybe. Maybe Signet's still fine. We'll put it on the list just in case. It's an artifact. I definitely want cheap ramp to get to our commander faster so we can get him into play and attacking as soon as possible. But don't think Signet is the thing. But I could be wrong. We might need it, so. I don't need the Sandstorm Eidolon for the same reason we didn't need the black one. You have no cards in hand? No. Fade. Talking Vengeance. Don't need Twin Strike. Force Toil. Don't think we need Wit's End. I think we can do better still. There are definitely cards that mess with multiple players' hands, or mess with the player's hand enough that it's doing this, but also has some other utility. I think. So yeah, I think we pass on that. Okay, so that was Ascension. That brings us to Doctor Who, so we have to go to the other site for that. We're right about where I normally stop. We've got a few minutes, so I think we power through Doctor Who. We mostly just have the villain deck and a few other red cards. There aren't a ton of... There we go. Doctor Who. There aren't a ton of cards in the others. Like, all the other decks are focused on, like, white, red, blue, and green. Only the villain decks actually get black cards, so... I'm going to sort by set number. Top card of your library until your next end step, you may play it. Clara. Enters the battlefield, destroy target creature an opponent controls, that player loses 3 life. 5 mana, 3/3 flying menace. Menace a Myriad. Target player mills 2 cards, then exiles their graveyard. No. It's X in the cost, so that's not particularly helpful. Controller loses 3 life. No. I don't care about Genesis. Alright. Creature's owner shuffles it into their library, then they either lose 5 life or shuffle another creature they own into their library. Time Reaper deals combat damage to a player. Put target face-up card they own in exile on the bottom of their library. If you do, you gain 3 life. No. Secretly choose a number between 1 and 5 that hasn't been chosen. If you do, an opponent guesses which number you chose, then you reveal the number you chose. If they guessed wrong, they lose life equal to the number they guessed, and you draw a card. If they guessed right, sacrifice the trap. No. Indestructible Shadow. The beginning of each end step, if a creature died this turn, put a 1/1 counter on it. I mean, it's really good for taking the Monarchy. It's an indestructible creature that keeps growing, so, and is nearly unblockable. This guy enters the battlefield. You may have an opponent gain control of it. If you do, it's goaded for as long as they control it. Beginning of your end step, draw a card, then lose life equal to the number of cards in your hand. Whenever Amy deals combat damage to a player, choose a suspended card you own and remove that many time counters. No. Cast an instant or sorcery spell that targets only. Copy that spell or ability. You may choose new targets. No. What's Coward and Killer again? Turn my head sideways. Target creature can't block this turn and becomes a coward in addition to its other types. Till end of turn. Time travel. Killer deals 3 damage to target creature and each other creature that shares a creature type with it. Nope. It's not worth tilting my head to the side. Non-creature, non-equipment artifacts? No. Choose a creature card name, then goad all creatures with a name chosen by day of the moon. Really? Discard my hand, draw that many cards, and it has retrace. Elite. Or a creature it's paired with deals or is dealt damage. Deals that much damage to target opponent. No. Static Beauty. Each opponent faces a villainous choice. They exile cards from the top of their library until they exile a non-land card. Then you may cast that card without paying its mana cost. Or that player exiles the top 4 cards of their library and ensnared deals damage equal to the total mana value of those cards to that player. Meh. Whenever you cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, Flaming Tyrannosaurus deals 3 damage to any target, then put a 1/1 counter on Flaming Tyrannosaurus. When it dies, it deals damage equal to its power to each opponent. That one, potentially? Yeah, I forgot that, one of the sub-themes of Doctor Who was the Paradox cards, where casting them from other zones, which would include our commander, so... Yeah, no, Flaming Tyrannosaurus would be a decent card to hit early on. Alright. Yeah, we were way higher than I thought we were. We need to go to Doctor Who. Flaming... P-Y-R, I'm assuming. P-Y-R-A-N-N-O. A-U-R-S. Flaming Tyrannosaurus. 5 red for a dinosaur. 5/5 base. 5/5 base. Deals 4 damage to target creature and opponent controls. Top card of your library. You may play it this turn. Add 6 red mana. Deals X damage to each opponent and each creature they control, where X is 1 plus the number of spells you've cast from anywhere other than your hand this turn. Yeah, it doesn't do enough. Cascade and Rebound. Trample, Battle Cry. When you cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, create a 2/2 red alien token. Yeah, it's gotta be underwhelming enough that I'm not actually interested. Like, my 4 mana 5/4 that's giving me a free 2/2 every turn. I mean, that's almost good enough still. The 5 mana 4/4 that, or, yeah, it's a 4 mana 5/4 that's giving me a free 2/2 basically every turn that I can connect with my commander. It's a reasonable amount of pressure if I hit it early on. Alright, so this thing's name is IRAXXA, Empress of Mars. She is 2 red for an alien warrior 5/4. Not even an alien noble? Whenever you cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, deal 2 damage to target player. That player discards a card, then draws a card, put a 1/1 counter on the worm. No. Exile the top 5 cards of your library for each non-land card exiled this way. Put a number of time counters on that card equal to its mana value. If it doesn't have suspend, it gains suspend. Time travel and time travel again. For each opponent, destroy up to 1 target artifact that player controls. Don't need return the past. Titanic. Tax exile cards from the top of your library until you exile a non-land card. You may cast the exile card without paying its mana cost. If it's a spell with mana value less than or equal to his power, he's a 2/2. Nope. When the Soothsayer enters the battlefield, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a card with mana value 3 or greater. Exile that card with 3 time counters on it. If it doesn't have suspend, it gains suspend. Put the rest on the other reveal cards on the bottom of your library in a random order. Not unplayable in our deck, but I think we can do better. At least 2 other creatures attack. For each opponent, goad up to 1 target creature that player controls. Those creatures can't block. Cast the spell, gain control of target creature until end of turn. Untap it, it gains haste and menace. Sorry, actually gains menace and haste, but my brain auto-corrected to it should gain haste. So haste is the word that comes first. Enters the battlefield tapped with 6 stun counters on it. Whenever a creature deals combat damage to its owner, untap it and draw a card. I think so. Gives the other robots haste. Beginning of combat on your turn, each opponent faces a villainous choice. That player sacrifices a creature they control, or you create a 3/3 with menace. Don't think I care about the Master Multiplied. Gallifrey's End is whenever a non-token artifact creature you control dies, you may exile it. If you do, choose an opponent with the most life among your opponents. That player faces a villainous choice. They lose 4 life, or you make a token copy of that card. First strike haste. When it enters the battlefield, villainous choice, that opponent discards all cards in their hand, then draws that many cards -1, or deals damage to that player equal to the number of cards in their hand. No, I don't think so. I don't need the baseball bat, or the car, or the clockwork droid. Yeah, no, I don't need the confession dial. Cybermat. Squadron. Ship. Probably don't need the Crusader shuttle either. Tap target artifact, surveil, goad target creature. Put a time counter on the moment. Untap target creature you control. It phases out until the moment leaves the battlefield. Destroy each non-land permanent with mana value less than or equal to the number of time counters on the moment. Then sacrifice the moment. Activate only as a sorcery. I don't need the paper. Don't think I need the diary. Fireplace. Probably don't need the screwdriver. And we're through Doctor Who. Alright, so yeah, we're just about at the hour mark, so I'm going to call it there. So thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Have a good rest of your day.